Welcome to Trade Pro. This is the release and tutorial video for the newest Trade Pro trading strategy script available on my Patreon page. This is the 19th Trade Pro trading strategy script to be released there, and it's using a free indicator that is called the Trade Pro Rejection Zone indicator, which is on the public library in TradingView for free. So you can access this indicator, this green cloud that also is a red cloud when in a downtrend. But this strategy specifically is going to be using this cloud to base its entries on. So let's talk about the basic strategy and then also talk about all the different customizable parts and additional features that you can use in this strategy settings section. So you can enable a longer term trend direction filter, as well as the stochastic RSI needing to fully reset into the overbought or oversold territory before considering an entry in order to increase the results of this strategy script. There's also the ability to change the way that the stop loss is placed, the way that the take profit target is done. You can also enable a dynamic stop loss so that you can trail the stop loss, move it to break even or into profit at a certain point, or you can move it and trail it based on the parameters that you choose in this section. So there's a bunch of different ways that you can set this strategy up and add additional features and filters to it to increase the results, because at its most default and basic settings, we can see over the series of 1,800 trades, or nearly 1,800 trades, it's only having a 52% win rate using a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio. So there's definitely improvement that needs to be done here with this specific strategy script. Another thing to note is that with the strategy scripts, you can automate the trading. You do need to use a third-party site like capitalize.ai, which is one of my affiliates. They do have a video on their channel showing how to connect the Trade Pro trading strategy scripts with your broker so that you can actually trade these automated. Now, let's talk about this strategy and all the different settings and things and filters that you can add in. But I'll start with just the basic strategy and the entry criteria on the default settings. So with default settings, with this one, there are three different types of entries that you'll see. The first one is that we see a candle pulls back into a green cloud and closes inside of the cloud. That is considered a long entry at default settings. So you can see this candle closes inside the green cloud, and then upon the close or the open of the next candle, that is the long entry. And you can see the stop loss placed to the low of the green cloud, which is a 50-period exponential moving average at default settings. And then using a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio, that is where the profit target is placed. Now, another type of entry is where we have the price coming below into the cloud and then closing back above the cloud. So for a long entry, the cloud needs to be green. For a short entry, the cloud will be red. And it's just vice versa. It's the same type of entry criteria, just depending on if it's a green or red cloud that will determine if it's a short or a long position. So for a green cloud, we have a close back over the cloud after taking a loss here. And then we see that entry upon the close of that candle that goes over the green cloud. And that is the entry. Stop loss goes to the bottom of the Trade Pro Rejection Zone indicator, and then using 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio at default, that is the setup, a different type. And then the third type of entry is where we see a pullback into the Trade Pro Rejection Zone indicator, and it wicks through the cloud. That close is where an entry will be taken. So we have this candle that wicks through the Trade Pro Rejection Zone indicator, and then upon the close or the open of that next candle, that's the entry price, where it's going to be placing the stop loss to the low of the Trade Pro Rejection Zone indicator, targeting a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio. So that's the basic strategy, and it's the opposite for short positions. So if the cloud is red, then it's going to be the opposite criteria for short positions. Looking for the red cloud and short entries. Now let's talk about the different customizable parts of the settings section for this script, because that's where we can get the results greatly increased by adding additional filters. So of course the number of trades will go way down because the criteria is more strict, but we can do things like add a longer term trend direction filter. So let's try enabling a longer term trend direction filter, such as a 200 period exponential moving average, which you can customize here to whatever moving average or exponential moving average that you wish to have. And then you can also allow it to only take a single entry per EMA cross, so price will need to come up and down over that 200 EMA to actually allow an entry. So let's take a look now. Results have greatly increased. We now have a 57.8% win rate, although much less trading opportunity. So down to 313 backtested trades, but increased results greatly. So up to that higher win rate and much higher profit factor when enabling a longer term trend direction filter and only allowing one entry per cross over the 200 EMA. We can do other things. So up top here, we have just the cloud itself. So let's say if we just change this from a 20 to a 30 period exponential moving average, and we change this from a 50 to a 60, it's going to change the cloud, which will also change the entry criteria. And I'm just choosing 30 and 60 just at random. There's no reason, and we can see that it does change the results as well. So you can kind of customize all these different parts to whatever you would like. And a very important section to talk about as well, other than just the entry criteria, is the stop loss placement and the take profit target section. So if we go down, we can go to the stop loss strategy section, where at default, it's just using the rejection zone indicator as the stop loss. So the bottom of the rejection zone indicator will be that stop loss placement, but you can also do a stop loss that's ATR based, moving average of the ATR based, percent based, tick based, wick based, or reward multiplier. And then you can set that custom section up here. So whatever you choose, whether it be ATR based or another one, you can then choose what ATR multiple you would like that stop loss to be. So if we go a 2 times ATR stop loss multiplier, we can kind of see how the stop loss changes and see how the results change with that. So we'll just wait for that. And as you can see, that did not improve the results compared to what I was doing before with just using the rejection zone indicator as the stop loss placement. But just to show you how you can customize different features there. Another section that's important is the ability to enable a dynamic stop loss. So you can do a moving stop loss where it moves to break even or it moves into profit at a certain point. You can do a trailing stop loss, or you can have it move the stop loss and trail the stop loss based on the settings that you choose in this section. So if you wanted to move the stop loss to break even at a certain point, you can configure that in this section. If you want it to trail based on a certain criteria, you can also do that in this section of the settings. And then another very important part is the take profit strategy itself. So right now with default settings, it just has a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio. So it has a risk multiplier. So if we just play around with this, let's just do something funny and go with a 0.5 take profit risk multiplier. So it's using a 1 to 0.5 risk to reward ratio. So it's actually a negative risk to reward ratio. And let's see that win rate go way up, but of course you're gonna see, a decrease in the amount that you win per trade, but this one actually improved results all around. So 72% win rate with a 1.585 profit factor. So this one actually increased the results and the number of closed trades to 361. And you can play around with this risk to reward ratio however you want. So if we go 1 to 1.3, we'll kind of see how the results change. And there's many different things that you can do other than a risk multiplier, such as ATR based, moving average of ATR based, percent based, tick based, or you can disable it and purely have a trailing stop loss if you wish. So that's kind of the different sections and the things that you can customize with this strategy script. And all of the other strategy scripts as well do have all these different customizable features where you can try out different arrangements in the settings to try and increase or improve the strategy's results. Another thing down below, we have the ability to enable a dollar cost average entry. So whether you want it to have the entry all at one price, or you want it to kind of have 1/3 of the entry at one price, and then if price keeps going against you, you can have another entry a little lower, another entry a little lower, or higher, depending if it's a long or a short. Then we also have activate custom order size settings. So if we want to risk a certain amount of the equity per trade, so 1% risk of account equity per trade is what I'm choosing right here by activating the custom order size settings. And you can see kind of how it will change the results and how much you can expect to profit based on the backtesting results. So that is going to kind of go through the main parts of this, the most important parts of this strategy script. There's other things like being able to restrict the entries to certain days and certain times of day, certain date ranges, and skipping entries if the commission is greater than estimated profit. So that would probably be more helpful if you're using a much lower time frame, because on the hourly, the fees aren't going to be as big of an issue as for someone trading on a much lower time frame. And then also you can try reverse entries. This one was added a few scripts ago, where if you have some terrible results, it's kind of fun to just see what would happen if you try doing the opposite of what the strategy is saying. So the strategy will open a long position when a short entry is signaled, and it will open a short position when a long entry is signaled. So this is kind of a funny thing to have added to the strategy scripts as well, if you find some horrible results and just want to see what would happen if you did the opposite based on the back testing. So that's going to kind of cover things here for this strategy script. Again, access is on Patreon. This is the 19th trading strategy script available on Patreon, along with 3 indicators and also my personal trading strategy. I have 2 videos made about my strategy and also some tips and tricks. There's a 26-minute video and a 30-minute video covering my strategy, as well as some tips and tricks with trading manually. So in addition to the trading strategy scripts. So that's going to kind of finish things up here for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and have a great day.